fear grips you. The amber lash of flame scorches the air. Your lungs choke on acrid smoke. You have every reason to be afraid. After all, you're only flesh. The flamethrower is a nightmarish weapon. Its extremity borders on unbelievable. Yet beyond its raw power, it fascinates in another way. It asks not just what it does, but what it reveals about those who wield it, the societies that build it, and the stories we craft around it. What real need justifies such a device? Why does its menace captivate? What person, hero, villain, or victim would dare or be forced to use one? Fire marked humanity's first real technology, a force capable of nurturing and destroying. It symbolizes our need for warmth and safety. It also reveals our capacity for violence and devastation. Since ancient times, people have harnessed fire as a weapon, drawn to its insatiable appetite for destruction. Greek fire, for example, was a mysterious Byzantine blend of incendiaries. Hurled from ships, it could ignite even the sea and obliterate enemy fleets. The psychological and tactical impact of such a weapon was enormous. It inspired both awe and dread. Fiction continues this legacy. Game of Thrones' infamous wildfire is a direct echo of it. Scenes such as the Battle of Blackwater and the destruction of the Great Sept of Baelor draw on such historic terror. In the show, stores of volatile green liquid were hidden beneath King's Landing. This plot led to the Mad King's downfall and the rise of the Kingslayer. Wildfire's signature emerald flames and lethal potency became legendary, a fantastical reflection of absolute historic horror. The modern flamethrower, as we know it, was born in Germany. The very name flamethrower is a direct translation of Flammenwerfer. Mechanical engineer Richard Fielder is credited with its invention. While he experimented with nozzle designs, parts of the end of a pipe that controls the direction and flow of fuel, he saw the potential to project burning liquid over long distances. His first patent was granted in 1901. By 1905, he presented a working prototype to Prussian engineers. By 1908, the German military had adopted two versions. The massive Großflammenwerfer was a stationary weapon. The portable Kleinflammenwerfer was a backpack unit carried by soldiers. Essentially, it was a smaller version that could be worn and operated by a single infantryman. The First World War erupted in 1914. By that winter, German flamethrowers made their battlefield debut in the Argonne against French forces. Early results were mixed. The Clive model was plagued by fragility and awkward handling. It also struggled with unreliable pressure, meaning it was difficult to maintain a steady stream of fuel needed for a continuous flame. Still, the weapon's potential was clear to the Germans. They responded by forming a specialized flamethrower unit, Flammenwerfer Abteilung Regiment, meaning Flamethrowers Detachment Regiment, under the leadership of Bernhard Riedemann, a pioneer in the field. Their first offensive took place in early 1915. They followed with actions in major battles such as Ypres and Verdun. In 1917, the lighter, donut-shaped Wechselapparat was introduced. It was a new flamethrower design with a ring-shaped fuel container for improved weight distribution. This addressed many initial flaws. Over the war, Riedemann's troops launched 653 flamethrower attacks. 82% of these were deemed successful. These assaults were high-risk, but uniquely effective at breaking entrenched defenses, meaning heavily fortified enemy positions, and shattering enemy morale. In the years leading up to World War II, the flamethrower underwent significant evolution. Countries around the globe developed their own versions. Germany introduced the Flammenwerfer 41, an improved, portable, backpack-mounted flamethrower. It was lighter, more reliable, and easier to operate. Britain followed with its Flamethrower Portable No. 2, also a portable infantry weapon directly inspired by the German Vex. Italy produced the Lancia Fiamme M40. Japan fielded the Type 93 and Type 100. These numbers indicated the year of adoption in the Japanese calendar. The Soviet Union deployed the ROX 2, a flamethrower disguised to look like a standard infantry rifle. Across the Atlantic, the United States introduced the M1 flamethrower in 1941. This weapon used diesel or fuel oil as a propellant, the substance that forces the burning fuel out as a spray. An upgraded version, the M1A1, arrived in 1943 and could deploy napalm, a thickened, sticky incendiary fuel, thanks to higher operating pressure. By 1944, the superior M2 replaced the M1. The M2 offered better ergonomics, that is, easier, more comfortable handling. It also improved regulation and used a rotary cartridge ignition system, a rotating mechanism that reliably lights the fuel. The M2 remained in service through Korea and Vietnam before eventually being superseded by the more advanced M9. Flamethrowers played a key role in World War II, but warfare changed rapidly. Armored tanks, artillery, and airstrikes made man-portable flamethrowers both risky and less necessary. By the late 20th century, flamethrower tanks replaced infantry units. Tank use offered greater safety and range. Today, flamethrowers are mostly used for land clearing, controlled burns, or dramatic scenes in movies, TV, and games. The weapon's image transformed, from real soldiers to cinematic heroes or eccentric villains. Flamethrowers first appeared in films featuring American soldiers, like Pork Chop Hill and Hell is for Heroes. In 1950s Hollywood, directors considered immolation too graphic for audiences. They avoided direct depictions by aiming flames at the camera, not the victims. The 1970s saw a change. Filmmakers confronted war horrors directly. The Deer Hunter stands out for its raw portrayal of psychological trauma in Vietnam. Video games follow a similar path. The flamethrower became a first-person shooter staple in the late 1990s. World War II GI, 1999, introduced the weapon. Call of Duty's United Offensive featured the German Flamethrower 35. Developers, especially Treyarch and Grey Matter Interactive, favored flamethrowers. In World at War's Pacific Campaign, the M2 was used against Japanese fortifications. The Black Ops series also features it as a weapon attachment and a specialist tool. It's no surprise that military shooters often feature flamethrowers, especially in settings inspired by the World Wars or Vietnam. In these games, such weapons are practically expected. Yet, their presence isn't limited to war games. There's a natural overlap between the war and horror genres. Both explore the darkest corners of human psychology. The flamethrower, with its capacity for indiscriminate destruction, becomes a symbol of the extremes of conflict. Perhaps that's why we're most comfortable seeing it used against monstrous or alien foes. These are targets we can't empathize with, and that seemed to justify such drastic measures. One of the first cinematic flamethrowers in sci-fi horror is in Them, 1954. Giant, irradiated ants threaten the US, and only fire can destroy their nests. This theme of cleansing destruction echoes in Alien. There, incinerator units become a practical, if imperfect, solution to xenomorphs. Flamethrowers aren't as final as orbital bombardment, but can do the job. Alien influenced countless games. For example, Bungie's Marathon trilogy includes a memorable flamethrower in Smells Like Napalm, Tastes Like Chicken. Using it against organic foes feels satisfying. The Halo series also features flamethrowers, which are ideal against the Flood. The trope continues in 1982's The Thing, where a flamethrower proves ideal against a shape-shifting parasite. In games like Dead Space, dismemberment is key, but the hydrazine torch, a fictional, high-energy cutting and burning tool powered by hydrazine, a real chemical fuel, is a reliable tool against necromorphs. Even the Warhammer universe embraces the flamethrower's effectiveness. When monsters shrug off bullets, fire is the answer. After all, fire consumes everything. The flamethrower is a force of chaos, indiscriminate, destructive, and impossible to control. It is the perfect symbol for anarchy in fiction, as seen in Mad Max 2 and countless post-apocalyptic worlds. There, a flamethrower-wielding character embodies lawlessness. This reputation also explains the weapon's appeal in video games, especially sandbox titles that thrive on player freedom. If you can see it, you can burn it. Fire-based weapons are ideal for emergent gameplay, open-ended play where a player's creative choices affect the game world in real time. They let players reshape the environment, create barriers, or unleash havoc. The Far Cry series showcases this dynamic brilliantly, particularly in Far Cry 2. In that game, a single spark can ignite vast stretches of savanna, sometimes by accident, sometimes by design. This unpredictability adds a layer of strategy and excitement. Later sequels tone down the fire's spread. Still, flamethrowers remain a core part of Far Cry's identity. Far Cry 3 features a standout mission in which you torch a drug crop. The protagonist gradually succumbs to the fumes, a sequence reminiscent of a similar moment in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Grand Theft Auto's flamethrower mayhem is iconic. From scorching crowds along Grand Theft Auto Vice City's neon-lit hotels and sun-soaked beaches to unleashing chaos in Los Santos's gritty neighborhoods. The horror genre also embraces the flamethrower's chaotic nature. In Resident Evil, for example, it's an iconic, if unwieldy, tool for battling the franchise's menagerie of viruses, monsters, and bioengineered nightmares. Whether fighting zombies, mutants, or something worse, few things are as satisfying as reducing threats to ash. The flamethrower also plays a pivotal role in LA Noire, where Detective Cole Phelps' wartime history and present as an arson investigator collide. In the game's final arc, Phelps must confront Ira Hodgeboom, a psychologically scarred former comrade turned arsonist who uses fire to enact revenge and unwittingly serves the interests of corrupt officials and business people. The resulting investigation ties together Phelps' personal demons, wartime trauma, and a larger conspiracy, culminating in a literal and figurative reckoning by fire in post-war Los Angeles. A signature feature of flamethrowers in video games is their lingering effect, known as afterburn. Striking an enemy with fire might not bring instant death, but the ongoing burn inflicts continuous damage, sometimes enough to finish them off after you've moved on. This mechanic shapes tactics in games like Team Fortress 2, where the pyro excels at hit-and-run attacks, letting the flames do the work. In more realistic shooters, similar ambush strategies are effective, since the bright plume of fire makes you an obvious target. So the less time spent exposed, the better. Despite their dramatic power at close range, flamethrowers are often not especially viable in most games. Their range is limited, ammo is scarce, and balancing concerns in multiplayer frequently leave them underpowered. Some titles address this by restricting flamethrowers to kill streaks or special pickups, but overall, they remain a tricky weapon class to master. This shortcoming reflects real-world limitations. Flamethrowers fill only niche roles, and operators quickly become high-priority targets. Realistically, few want to risk being burned alive, virtual or otherwise. The flamethrower embodies our deepest, most instinctive fears. Forged out of dire need, it casts a harsh light on the terrors of warfare. Fire is a wild force, one we pretend to control. Yet, its legacy extends far beyond the battlefield. The flamethrower's enduring fascination lies not just in its destructive power, but in what it reveals about us, our struggle with chaos, our urge for control, and our uneasy relationship with the tools we create. Throughout history and fiction, it forces us to confront the extremes of human behavior and morality, how violence, fear, and spectacle intermingle. Transitions between history, pop culture, and gaming highlight the flamethrower's evolution from a terrifying weapon of war to a symbol that explores the boundaries of human empathy and the appeal of spectacle. In film and games, it's not only a tool of destruction, but also a means to explore the psychological impact on both characters and audiences. Whether it's the horror of immolation in classic war movies, the cathartic mayhem in video games, or the moral dilemmas faced by characters like LA Noire's Cole Phelps, The flamethrower compels us to consider the costs of power and chaos. Its evolution from a weapon of war to a pop culture icon is a testament to its power to captivate, horrify, and entertain. As one World War II flamethrower operator once said, "You didn't want to be seen with one on either side." That sense of dread and awe persists, even in fiction. The fascination endures because the flamethrower is more than fire. It's a mirror reflecting our darkest fears, our endless curiosity about chaos, and the moral boundaries we test when wielding ultimate power. In the end, the flamethrower's story is about more than destruction. It's about what we learn about ourselves when we face the heat. But remember, the flames are hungry, and tonight, you're what's on the menu.